What is up, everyone, and welcome to Twitch Monster 27 for the BRL update. After an amazing race that took place Saturday, and we are looking forward to more. We also got a special interview for you as well. So stay tuned as we update the series. And so we welcome you live here. And you want to catch us on social media? Check us out, Sam Cook and a bunch of numbers. Haven't memorized those numbers yet, but we are there on Twitter. Check us out on YouTube as well. Stream Monster 27. After the races are live on Twitch, they are moved there, so check out all of BRL as well as other stuff, as there's some iRacing that goes on there as well. So we would thank everyone for supporting the channel. We are up to 101 followers. That is awesome. Let's keep up the good work. And we got something special planned for everyone for our 100 viewers capture. That will be later on. And Jazz Daddy will help me out with that. He is in the chat. What's up, man? We also have up here in studio Paintbrush, our defending champion, and now the first to ever win Daytona in the BRL series. Making history. Paintbrush, what's going on, man? Nothing much, man. It was a sweet race. So while we update everything, you'll see the update there on your screen. While we update everything, man, let's get an interview in. Let's first ask the question, man. How does it feel to be back in the car after a pretty long off season? The rewards and spoils of winning a championship. So let's take it through your mindset after winning the championship. How did that change your approach, if it did change your approach to this upcoming season? Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, so take us through that. I mean, first of all, before we get into detail, what was your overall take on the race, as far as how everything went and and everything? What was your overall take? Because I mean, I guess we could say from a viewer standpoint, if they were to see that race, beginning of the race kind of boring, kind of typical actually, because you had the typical Daytona line that formed, but by the end of that race, it spiced it up. What was your take on it? Yeah, probably our lowest ever in a league that I've ran at Daytona. It certainly wasn't typical of your normal Daytona, even with the pack kind of congealed together at the end of the race when you would expect the big one, and you would expect a ton of wrecks and stuff. So let's get some detail in here. Take us through kind of your strategy for that race, beginning, middle, ending strategy, if any, that went on there. Right. Well, how you touched on it a little bit, but can you share a little more light in? Obviously, like you said, there was a lot of uncertainty as far as your team was concerned because your teammate was a hot seat. Obviously, number one on the list of hot seats, but still a hot seat nonetheless. There was a lot of pressure on him this race, and like you said, you didn't see him the whole race. So what was that like? How did that change overall what you had to do on the racetrack? Yeah, it is. I can tell you from experience, from my practice sessions, it is definitely going to be an interesting race, to say the least. Okay, so back to you now. We're going. I think it was about maybe 15 to go, 20 to go. We had just finished our last kind of pit stop there. Pit strategy was starting to inch its way back into the picture, and then we have a late race caution. Um, Field bunched back up. You had veterans per se. Obviously, this league, you had one veteran, and then you had a rookie, if you want to say that. But as far as age and running together as competitors, a lot of experience there, and everyone in that group in the top, I'd say top 3 to 5, capable of pulling out the win there. Um, so what kind of nerves were running through you at that on that last restart we had? Yeah, that was awesome driving there at the end. I think from everyone, not to wreck it, to apply pressure, not to tear up the cars, and to bring home excellent finishes to that. So now, obviously, again, there's work to be done. Um, how do you approach the upcoming race from a team um, perspective? Right. Um, so as you look at the competition there, you see, I don't know whether you can see on your screen or not, the update. The points have been updated. Um, as you look at that screen and as you think about what your upcoming races, who's going to be do you think your biggest competition um, coming week in and week out? I certainly didn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I know that he probably still thinking about that moment, and you know, he's probably still dreaming about that moment when all he needed was a lap lead, and he didn't get it, and that was the difference in the championship, and not having to run the qualifying race and having pole at Daytona, a lot at stake there. So yeah, that's yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, Paint Man, it's great to be back in the cars. It's great to have you back in victory lane. And what an awesome job you did at Daytona for really, if you want to merge the two series, really back to back Daytona 500 appearances, back to back dominating performances. A lot different. And now we're headed to Maple Valley, where it's going to be tough. Now the season starts to begin some. We'll keep our eyes open on you and PBR and see how that team does. Thank you for joining us up here for that interview. Hope everyone out there enjoyed that. What a great interview that was with Paintbrush, our defending series champion and now BRL 500 champion. Let's take a look at our chat real quick as we continue to update what's going on. And of course, Paint, you can stay up here with us if you like and just kind of chime in, whatever. We appreciate your company. Here in the chat, um, Jazz Daddy says, "Will I have an interview too?" We'll definitely get you an interview in, man. Absolutely, but not tonight, unfortunately. But we will definitely get you an interview in. Then you said, I can't hear him. Hopefully you could hear some of his responses later on. I'm pretty sure he had his responses and everything. I saw on my end the volume was okay, so I don't know. Hopefully we'll go back and listen to it and see where it is. Hopefully we'll have a broadcast set up. Our broadcaster had technical difficulties and was unable to broadcast the BRL 500. So we're going to do something special here. What we're going to do after this update stream is we're going to replay the first 30 minutes of the BRL 500. So at least you'll get a chance to see from a broadcast view the first half of the race. And I'll make the call, and I'll try to call it like I never raced it, and so that everyone can kind of get at least the first 30 minutes, and then at least get kind of a feel of everything that happened on the racetrack. Just as a reminder as well, we had hot seats. As you see on the list, hopefully you can see it Let me make sure. Yeah, you can. Hopefully, you can see it there on the screen. But your hot seat drivers this past weekend will be in black. They will have a black bar across their on their playoff status. Okay, and it will remain black until either um, until they make the top 16, or if they are outside of the cut, in which at which point it'll probably stay black because they're not in the top 16, or it will go to red or some other color. But just to make a distinction so everyone will know who the hot seats are. So our hot seats were the 48 of Little Happy, the 46 of Skitty Brave, who is a hot seat after this weekend, and of course the 96 of Dawson, who is a hot seat. So just as a reminder of how this is going to work, um, when we go to Maple Valley this weekend, these three drivers, Little Habby, Skitty Brave, Dawson, unless there is a spot open, at least for Maple Valley, they will be considered ineligible. They are still hot seats. Here's the reason why. Because these drivers here, Redneck, Chris, and Dream K, all three of these guys did run the qualifying race at Homestead. So they qualified into the series, okay? So they're going to get an opportunity to run and put points on the board there at Maple Valley. Now, if one of them does not show up, then of course we'll go to the list. The first one on the list will be Little Habby. So the Little Habby will get an opportunity to run if one of these guys don't show up, or if we have an absence in the field and we need to fill in via hot seat. And or after Maple Valley and the points are tallied up, then we will take a look and see who's in the top 16. Any of the drivers that are outside of the top 16 at the end of Maple Valley will drop to the hot seat list. It could be any of these guys, with the exception of, obviously, Paintbrush, who, if he falls outside the top 16, it's just, there's no way. But let's just say he were to do that, he would be the exception because he has a win. Okay? So hopefully everyone remembers that. As a reminder, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to answer that question again when the time comes, but that's what we got so far. So that's why these black lines are here, to show that these guys are hot seats and are not scored in the playoffs as of yet. But they will. So now let's go, as we continue on, let's go to our team points and let's go ahead and update them. And while we do that, update them, what's your take, Paint, this season on the teams aspect? How do you think that's going to work out? Yeah, any chance we see that come back? Because I thought that was really cool. Okay. Okay. Sweet. Man, I look forward to it because I swear y'all had some of the best paint schemes, man. And the way y'all were able to align those schemes together, I thought was sweet. I thought that was sweet. So yeah, I like the and believe it or not, I like the white ones when we ran Sebring. I wish it wasn't raining, but I really like that. Yes. Yeah, I think it would have been a lot sweeter if had it not rained and we get a chance to see those cars. But I don't know. The same token was, but it was neat because not only were did y'all run those similar schemes, but a lot of the races last season, especially like I said that Sebring race, y'all ran pretty much together. So that made it really cool. I've always liked that. I remember one time in KMR, I had for the playoffs, I would do that for my team. We'd all run identical schemes, and it wasn't really to throw anything off. It was more of a mental thing. Yeah, exactly, a team thing. Right, right, exactly. So I tell you what else is cool is we've got another ghost in this series. It's gonna be super confusing, but I think it's still cool. Just not as fast as our ghost, but you know. Uh huh. But I think it made for better racing too, because and even on the last lap, I mean, there's only so much you're gonna be able to do uh, with not being able to link up or trying to link up like that, which really made it a battle at the end. And I think that was great. I think that made for a great finish. Reminded me of something like a NASCAR 15 kind of finish. You know, that's just my take on it, bruh. I'm just surprised at how I thought my race was over right when I made that mistake at the beginning because the suction, the draft effect is not as strong um, on Forza 7 than it is on Forza 6. I think on Forza 6, the draft effect is so high that even if you like in that situation where I was there and I pulled off of you, I backed off of you so I could try to get a run. Forza 6, I would have got a super run, and would have been able to try to get around you and try to avoid the bumper glitch, of course. But I would, try to get around you. But in Forza 7, I was really dependent on the car behind me, which was fractured, to try to push me. And when I would get up to you, when you would block me, it would just take all the momentum away. So I had to kind of start over. Yeah, absolutely. It was really a challenge there at the end to try and get around you to try to make passes. But it was still fun because I had to try to outthink you, and I like stuff like that. Yes. So it's probably why we didn't have a big wreck. Because yeah, exactly. We all had that experience, and we were like, "No, can't be tearing up the cars. Too much of a." Uh, yeah, so now you're turning the tides. You know, that which is good. I mean, because for a long time, second was just your number. You might as well have just ran a two car. Yeah, yeah. This time you were able to turn the tides, and now it's one. Like I was saying before, though, I was so surprised. I thought my race was over when I got in that little skirmish with the 55 at the start of the race, and I'm like, okay, it's over. We're gonna ride around here in the back, We got to pray for a caution, and then we kept going, kept going. Cautions didn't come. I knew I had to be aggressive, but at a certain point, y'all had broken away. U.S. and was it Frosty that was with you in that group, that first group? Was it the 12? I think it might have been the 12 that was up there, which we'll see in the replay. Krasy, TMG, TGM, Krasy. And y'all had broken away, and so we had slowly but surely, got back to you. But by the time we did, it was like it was time to pit. So pit strategy was big, and I thought I was a cooked goose. So when I restarted there at the end, and I was sitting second, you can't imagine how excited I was running third, and then getting up to second, and all of that. I was like, wow, we made it, boys. So that's another reason why I did not want to wreck the car. Like, yeah, we had a little skirmish in our little pack. We were trying to pass some cars, and the car came down on me, and came down on really me and the 48, and everything. And then the 9 being who he is. And so that was a bit scary too, because I just knew for sure we were going to be taken out, with one of the moves he made. And I was like, but we made it. And so here we are with our BRL team up points update. PBR has a 3-point lead over 484 Racing, 117 to 114. CMR 108, and then BBR, that's the 88 and the 9 with 105. Everyone else is sub 100. A lot of single car teams. Remember that the window is open. It has been open since 11:30 Eastern, or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to request team points for these guys, and I tell you, team points would really help out for those that have teammates that did not run, and/or those that are in the hot seat position. Especially if they don't get an opportunity to go green flag, team points are going to be big. Remember, the window, it closes Friday night. The request for team points will not be available. Also, remember that if you receive a points penalty or anything like that, or if there's any points adjustments, it will be added to the next week's totals. So there were a couple that got penalties for swearing. That's minus 20. You won't see it reflected in your points right now, but you will see it reflected in your points for next race as far as how much you earn. That minus 20 will be taken out of that, okay? So keep that in mind moving forward. And that is so that, number one, that is to keep everything simplified. And then number two, um, that really creates a challenge, especially if you're battling for team points or battling for the top 16. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. This is the BRL update. We want to thank Paint for joining us, but don't go away here on the series, because we're going to hop over there and we are going to uh, record our first 30 minutes of the BRL 500. So we hope that you enjoy that broadcast as we kind of catch up on everything that is going on. Maple Valley will be this coming Saturday at the normal time, 11:30 Eastern Standard. Hopefully there will not be weather, but be prepared for either one, because I've been keeping an eye on it and there is a decent chance for some weather, so that will be very, very interesting. Also, remember that the field will be inverted based on finishing order for that race. So that would put the 12 of Krasny on the pole, and beside him the 1 of Beloved. And also remember, there is no opt. There is no opt out for um, opting to the back. You opt to the back at the start of the green flag and not before. That makes the lineup a lot simpler. We'll see you guys in a little bit as we transition to FM7. And until then, it's Twist Monster.